Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Rocket Rabbit Commentaries run-through of Unreal Tournament 2004 campaign. In this episode, we'll be beginning the bombing run ladder, and yep, switch out Karag in order to put on Lauren. Woot! All right, actually, we're having her on support for this ladder. We're going up against Black Legion. They're going to have Harlequin, Fate, and Abaddon. Okay, now. Bombing Run as a game mode is effectively capture the flag if it was crossed with rugby instead. I don't really know how else to describe it, Mr. Cloud.
Just a different kind of... Okay, well, those are the two flags on the right
Boink.
and the left. You have the ball. Deliver it to the enemy's face. All right, here we go. There's the... Oh shit, we're losing now. All right, we ragdolled. Let's try it. We're gonna have to call a mulligan.
All right, so the big difference between bombing run and capture the flag is the fact that the ball carrier cannot actually defend themselves. It's like that specifically so that it has more well-defined team play elements in it. But to be perfectly honest, it doesn't honestly work all that well with bots. With other players, it works really damn well. But with bots specifically, the carrier being unable to defend themselves is just more or less a hindrance.
I
also,
see.
What usually happens when you attempt to do a touchdown is that most of the maps are set up in a way that will kill you when you go for a touchdown instead of allowing you to survive. Serenity and Bifrost. Is it Bifrost? I think it's Bifrost. Are like two of the only maps that will allow you to stay alive. This is the Translocator. We got to show it off a little bit during the capture the flag ladder, but what it allows us to do is to throw a teleportation pod, and then we can use the alt fire in order to warp to it.
Sweet.
But yeah, using the Translocator earlier on the ladder really does feel like cheating. On higher difficulties, especially later on the ladder, you absolutely need to figure out how to best use your Translocator. But earlier on, you can forego it for the most part.
4, 3, 2, 1.
That's what I've... That is a trope I've noticed in more recent explorations of how to spice up, like first-person shooters, for instance, is a lot to do with position trickery. Is your opponent may not anticipate that you're going to move somewhere completely different if they're shooting at a spot already. Like I could think of the what is it, like grappling hooks and like sliding and jetpacks and shit they were using in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I thought was horrendous and ridiculous. Never played it. But it still reinforced the point that if your opponent can't hit you because you fucking warped, then it gives you the chance to kill them.
For the record, the additional movement options in Infinite Warfare weren't the problem. The problem was the map design was terrible.
I mean, I thought Nuketown was pretty cool.
Nuketown is always cool, as in it's like one of the only COD maps that actually is fun to play around. Mostly due to its almost completely symmetrical, although it doesn't feel symmetrical design.
Yeah, kind of like white and black on a chessboard.
Blue team scores.
Yay!
Glorious victory.
Nice. All right. So bombing run, huh? This is just a kind of nuanced capture the flag.
Okay, now we're going into Bifrost. Are we going to switch over to Temple of Anubis? Okay, we are switching to Temple of Anubis. I prefer Temple of Anubis over Bifrost. Bifrost bases is... The big problem with Bifrost base is that it's fucking giant. Unfortunately,
nice.
we'll have to deal with at least a giant bombing run map at the very end.
There's only one viable entrance into the main chambers.
In Bifrost bases. Thankfully, Temple of Anubis has multiple different paths through it. Although, to be perfectly honest, I only ever actually bother to use the one that I know.
Gerda gets punished almost immediately for ignoring the defense.
No, I'm not ignoring the defense. I've got. Let me think. Yeah, I've got Lauren on defense.
No, I mean defense for your ass, not the team's ass. The team is doing just fine. Lauren has the ball. Protect
We actually
Lauren.
had to show off double assault rifles for a brief moment.
Protect.
Woohoo! Go, Carrack, go! And now he's going to pass it to me stupidly. Yes? Oh, guess not.
Oh, I mean, we got a couple guys. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Get that ball. The enemy has the ball. Recover.
Blue team on offense.
All right. It's still a nothing game. My God, this is exciting.
Yeah, I actually really like playing on Temple of Anubis for bombing run because it's a large enough map to where you actually have the ability to plan out multiple routes, but it's small enough, but the combat zones are small enough to where there's a lot of intensity going on at any given moment. Yep, she passed it to us. Let's go.
Now, stiff arm some dudes.
We can't stiff arm dudes. We don't have the ability to outstretch our arm.
That is a massive oversight. How heavy is this ball? I observe we have one free right hand while we give our lives for the team.
5, 4, 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
Gale pit jumping is really goddamn fun.
That is pretty funny. So you're not supposed to survive. The defense is supposed to lay waste to you after you score the point, of course, because after it matters.
Got it. Let's go. Ack 4.
Use the pillars as cover.
You can't use the pillars as cover. They're not at the right spots. And got it. Out. Out.
All right, so they definitely intended to have you just laugh at the fucking ragdoll physics.
2, 1.
Yep.
Well, this map should just about satisfy what has been my noticing the scarcity of our own death screens.
Yeah.
Blue team on offense.
All right. Get the shield pack. All right. We are safe.
Alley-oop.
Got it.
Yay!
Victory.
The last
Temple of Anubis
point
bombing run
the
is honestly
sweetest.
honestly about as good as bombing run gets, to be perfectly honest. But by clearing 2 missions in the bombing run ladder, we have successfully unlocked the assault ladder, which we will not be doing for some time.
Assault mode. I made some assault mode maps in my time. Those were fun.
All right, Canyon. Canyon is actually an okay map. It's not a map I'm good with, to be perfectly honest. It is effectively defined very specifically by the large walls that are on each defensive side that you can translocate over. Room.
Blue team
Got it.
Oh, man, what a warp, that translocator.
Canyon is another map where they don't actually expect you to die if you go for the touchdown.
Blue team
Ding,
has the
ding,
lead.
ding.
Grab some ammo, pick up the shield pack.
New round in 5,
No!
4,
Give me
More
the
like-
shield pack.
More like the ball game that they had in the road to El Dorado, because the hoop is all the way the fuck up there now.
Well, here's the thing. The ball game in Road to El Dorado was significantly more difficult because it was a much smaller hoop and there were more members on each team.
And there were more dudes, yeah.
Nah, I think the ball game in Road to El Dorado was supposed to be 10 on 10.
10 of our finest warriors against 2 schmucks.
I actually really like Road to El Dorado. There's
it is a
the
good
one
movie, yeah.
there's the one sequence towards the end where the third act breakup, you know, where Miguel and Tulio are finally coming to blows over
Ding, ding, ding.
over the
New round
over
in
their different philosophies
5,
towards it. Like
4,
Miguel wants to go home and
3,
Tulio just does
2,
not.
1.
Friends never say goodbye.
Yeah, that moment. I really fucking love that moment.
Well, you can thank Elton John for that moment. Man's a musical genius.
Blue team on offense.
I'm supposed to be thanking him for all the good moments in Lion King too, but I can't do it because Can You Feel the Love Tonight, despite being an amazing comedy piece at the tail end and at the beginning, thanks to Timon and Pumbaa, has never really hit with me.
Ding, ding, ding.
Flawless victory.
Woot.
Flawless victory.
All right.
After 2.54
Now we're moving on to
minutes.
Disclosure. Disclosure is a map that I actively dislike.
I have something to
And
tell.
it's a lot for the same reason why I like Temple of Anubis, to be perfectly honest. Disclosure is a large enough map to where there are multiple ways to get around, although what ends up happening is that I always end up getting lost in it. And the kill zones are actually tight enough to where there's always intensity happening, but they're a bit too confined in my opinion.
Blue team on offense.
That is, wow. What a way to stretch out a premise for a level. That this map has something to tell you. It is confusing. And
Yes.
you will realize this. whether
Also,
you like it or
touchdown!
not.
Ah!
Ding, ding, ding.
New round in
We don't actually get to see our body fly through the wind tunnel usually.
2.
Yeah, it looks like, so this strikes me now that this is more like a game of hockey than a game of ball.
I wouldn't go that far, honestly. Although hockey has as much physical violence in it as this game does, hockey is more. What I was trying to do there is actually telefrag Avalanche, but I couldn't get it to go. Hockey is much more about strategically using your teammates' positioning to your advantage to score. Well, to achieve scoring angles on
Ding, ding, ding.
Whereas this game is more or less this game mode is more or less about instead of setting up scoring lines, scoring up a particular. Damn, we
Jesus
got
Christ.
telefragged by Karag. Is about attempting to score positional advantages through not necessarily your team's positioning, but through your individual positioning.
I agree with you, except for that it's your teammates' positions does matter because you
It
can't
does matter,
defend,
certainly,
you can't
but it does
defend
not nearly
yourself
as matter as
while
much
you got
as-
the ball.
It doesn't matter nearly as much as your solar player's positioning does. At least when it comes to the difficulties that I end up playing on.
Red team on offense.
And also, not to mention that, this map fucking kills you when you score points, and it removes you from the game for a moment. That's like penalty
It
box,
doesn't actually
power
remove
play.
you from the game. That's the thing. For it to effectively remove you from the game, there needed to have been a significant disadvantage to being killed. And despite losing shield and health,
Ding,
there
ding,
really
ding.
isn't anything that you lose for being killed in bombing run, at least.
Well, it's equalized, of course, because both teams also go into the death fan when they score points.
Well, if they decide to go for a touchdown, if you can,
What, you
there
could
is an
throw
alternate
it?
scoring method. Yes, you can throw the ball into the goal, and you score 3 points that way instead of 7.
Play.
Huh. So the game is trying to punish you by going into the death fan.
Yeah, but it's not an actual punishment. Is the thing. You don't lose nearly enough for it to for the punishment to actually make sense. Yes, you lose your collected ammo, you lose your collected health and shield, but you were gonna lose most of that shit during the round reset anyway. So.
Well, what it does is that it challenges the scoring team to keep it challenges the scoring team to keep up momentum without letting the defense convert and then answer the point. Because it forces you to respawn. If it does it equally, yes, it will have the same phenomenon will happen equally for each team. when the score happens. So, that being said, yes, you are right. You should just be scoring touchdowns all the time, regardless of the consequences.
There are instances where it is just too difficult to score touchdowns, especially on the higher difficulty settings. But even in those instances, going for the touchdown is usually worth it over the risk of handing the ball over to the other team.
Mm-hmm. Turnovers,
If
my friend.
spawn timers were significantly longer, like say somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute, then yes, factoring in that risk would be significantly different. But I would also probably dislike the game mode significantly more for kicking me out of it effectively for 30 seconds. Unreal
30 seconds is egregious, yeah.
Unreal and Unreal Tournament are saved by how fast-paced they are, to be perfectly honest.
Adrenaline
Rampage. Or maybe
This is the Injector Team Deathmatch map. I haven't bothered to mention it because both of the maps that we ended up having picked for this Blood Rights run were maps that I don't actually like. Injector, I don't play enough to actually know where the fuck anything is, and Ice Tomb is too difficult for me to look at for long periods of time because it's a very cold blue.
Alright. The next part, after we lay waste to these mother scratchers,
We'll be finishing off the bombing run ladder.
whew.
No,
But
with
what?
Sky
Why?
And Colossus.
Why do you suppose it's called bombing run? One more time.
Because we're delivering an explosive
Blue
to the
team
enemy's
is
goal.
The winner.
And it goes boom.
It does go boom.
Gotcha.
Be safe, everybody.